Hello, everyone. Welcome to our last webinar in a series of 6, reviewing the skills for psychological recovery, brought to you by Lynwood Charlton Centre and presented by the GPS Home and School team. It's really important to have an understanding of why we chose this program to move forward with. We understand now that many families who are looking for support and maybe some hands-on skills, just coping with this really, really difficult pandemic right now, managing your own mental health and the day-to-day things that you have to do can be difficult, and then you add all of this stress on top of it. We understand that our families really needed some good resources that they could start to use immediately. So the Skills for Psychological Recovery was written by a number of trauma specialists from the National Center for Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder and the National Child Traumatic Stress Network. It features 6 skills, and today we are reviewing the last skill, number 6, rebuilding healthy and social connections. Let me introduce my colleague Carrie, and she'll help me walk through skill number 6. Welcome, Carrie.
Hi, Patty. Thanks, everyone, and welcome. As Patty mentioned, my name is Carrie, and I'm a resource worker at Lynwood Charlton Centre. So I also welcome you to the Skills for Psychological Recovery series here on your SPACE platform. Again, the focus of this particular webinar will be on identifying the steps to rebuilding and establishing healthy social connections and making a social support plan.
The rationale behind this skill, well, over the last several months, you may have found yourself experiencing some feelings of isolation because of not being able to see your friends or your neighbors or your family members. And maybe this is, you're feeling overwhelmed and you have less time or energy to devote to relationships when you're just basically trying to get through the day. I want to, this skill helps you to reconnect, build new supports, and increase feelings of belonging. Why this is so important, you may ask? Well, social connections, we know, really help us to recover from difficult times. The science shows us, I talked earlier in the series about how important social relationships are, and because we've been a little bit out of practice, sometimes using some skills to get us back in the game is going to be very helpful. So whether you're feeling isolated, you're feeling lonely, maybe you're in a new environment, feeling unappreciated or useless, maybe you're struggling with a lack of confidence, maybe you're just scared to go outside right now. I mean, that is the reality, is some people are having a really hard time just leaving their house and making those connections happen again. So this skill really kind of breaks down the steps involved in reconnecting with people.
Okay, so as you can see on the next slide, Patty, that there is 3 steps. The first one being develop a social connections map. The second is to review this map. And the third is to make a social support plan. So the first step in building healthy social connections is to build a social connections map. So what you're going to do is you're going to start by writing your name in the middle, and then write the names of the people or pets, professionals, and so forth that are a part of your network. So your network can start with the most important and easiest people to connect with. And as you move out from there, you may want to include others who are less connected to you or not as available. There really is no right or wrong way to do this. It's your story and your network. Here's some examples if you need help in determining who may be a part of your map. So as you can see on this list, it ranges from your closest family members to maybe even your children or teachers or mentors. and write down to friends and soulmates or roommates. Other things you might want to consider, maybe the type of supports that you're looking for. And again, if you just review this worksheet, it goes from emotional comfort to reliable support to actually physical assistance if that's what you're requiring. Now, step 2, once you've created your map, step 2 is actually to review your map and decide what strengths your connections provide for you. For example, are they someone who you can share your feelings with, or someone to give you advice, or spend time with, or provide some practical help? Next, you want to identify what is missing and what needs to be improved or changed in some way, like any unhealthy relationship, or people you want to spend more time with or less for that matter.
I think, Carrie, I get to have a little bit of fun here. So let's walk through this for a second. I'm going to show you how easy it is just to make a quick social connections map for yourself. So I'll start with my trusty little circle tool. And this is little old me here. Do I really need to put my name? My name is Patty and I'm in the circle. Then we're going to take our drawing tool and make a few. I've got a few connections. Some are closer than others. I can even signify that by the length of my little squiggly. So I'm going to ask myself those questions while I do my social connections map. I apologize, it looks like a ray of sunshine here, but that's okay. So who are my closest connections? Well, I would say right now I'm pretty isolated. So, you know, I've got my son here, so I would write his name. With whom can I share my feelings with? Well, I can always honestly share my feelings with Carrie, who is my co-presenter today. So she's pretty close to me, so I think I'm going to give her a smaller stick and keep her closer to my circle. Thanks, Carrie, for listening to me all the time. Who gives me really good advice? Well, I've got someone who's really good at that. I don't see her all the time, but she's definitely makes it to my social connections map because of her really good advice. Who's the person that I want to socialize with? Well, I do have a friend that I do have fun with. I don't always feel like having fun right now, but sometimes just making that connection and letting my friend know I'm down right now. I'm not doing so hot. It would be really nice to make that connection with you. And then who can help me with practical matters? Well, there's always my dad, actually, and he won't be that long, but that's okay for. And then the last question is, who can I support? Because I also want to be thinking about that. Making connections with people, it's suggesting that you could be helpful to other people as well, and that might in turn help yourself. So go ahead, draw your connections map, and you might think of people that you haven't thought of in a while, just asking yourself the questions, but it will help you to set goals for making those connections.
Okay, thank you, Patty. So I guess I really want to just point out some of the things that Patty considered when making her map. So you'll need to plan ahead as well in order to increase the time with and the connection to the most important support people. So I'm going to outline 6 steps to help you choose the best way to ask for support from and connect to the people you have identified on your map, okay? So the first one is to ask, who are my most important social connections right now? And figure out who you want to connect with and ask. Pause on that one. Okay. The first step is to ask, who are my most important social connections right now? Figure out who you want to connect using your social connections map, and think about people with who you want to increase or decrease your time. Step 2 is to think about, what do I want? Decide what you really want or need from your connections. For example, sometimes you want to be understood and sometimes you want advice. Approach this in two ways. So first of all, look outside yourself and ask, what kind of problem am I facing? What kind of supports will help me cope? Do I have to make an important decision? Do I need someone to help me do something? Do I need something from someone else? And secondly, look inside of yourself. So what am I feeling inside? What kind of supports will help me cope with this? Do I want someone to listen to me and understand what I'm going through? Do I want someone to hug or hold me? Do I want encouragement in handling a difficult situation? Or do I want someone to help me get my mind off problems? And thirdly, choose about who you should ask. Who would be a good source for what I want? And in the past, who has given me the support that I need? Who can I depend on for this type of support? Fourth, plan. When is the right time and where is the right place? That's pretty self-explanatory. Number 5 is an important one, and it's making a request with an I message. Once you've decided on the type of support you want and who you want to ask, I want you to do that using an I message to talk about how you're feeling, about your situation, and about the person listening to you, what they can do to help. For example, you might say, I'm really upset about what happened at school today, and I wonder if we could talk about it. And finally, number 6 is to thank the person. End the conversation by thanking the person for listening and name exactly what they did that you appreciated. That way in the future, they will know how to help you. It's also important to talk about giving social support to other people. And sometimes you would like to help someone, but you know it might be unwise to take on their problems. It can be helpful to think about and decide what you can do that may be truly helpful without harming your own connections that you have built for yourself or your family. And again, you can use these listed things here on this next slide when learning to give support to others. For example, what kind of problem is the person facing? Sorry, Patty, you want to back up? Thank you. Yep. Number 2, what type of support can I give to be helpful? Finding the right time, the right place and space, offering help, and do it in a sensitive way.
Excellent. Thank you, Carrie. That was fantastic. Social support is one of the most consistently identified protective factors in studies of disaster survivors. Often the best way to cope is to have other people to talk to and do things with. Disasters can result in people feeling isolated and alone, and certainly during this pandemic, we are feeling very isolated and very alone depending on the situation you're in. It can feel impossible to build new skills or reestablish existing relationships. This skill will help you learn how to be more effective and seek support and give support to others. I know it's sometimes really difficult to get back out there after you've been on pause for a long time, and that's why I love this skill. It really kind of helps you break it down into easy steps so you can get back out there and get your social connections happening. And thank you so much for joining us, and this has been our pleasure to bring you this series. I encourage you to check out the other webinars in the 6 series video presentation. If you haven't seen all of them, they are available to you. And again, the links for handouts and connections to the websites that you can get this information from is in this presentation. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Bye.